and experience-based learning. Students from the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia will form international teams to work on case studies together. Selected teams will get a chance to meet in person during a summer school where they will be able to present their project. For future engineers in the region, this learning experience is a great opportunity for them, as they will get a chance to broaden their professional network and acquire a variety of soft skills in a multicultural environment. What about the private sector? The Gecko project offers a chance to help shape engineering courses to better meet their expectations in terms of graduate skill sets. And for other universities in Southeast Asia, increasing regional cooperation is also one of the goals of the project. Universities are encouraged to expand on the Gecko experience and network to develop similar initiatives in the region. Want to know what the project can offer you and how to get involved? Write us or visit the website.
Hi everyone, I'm Alessandra Colombelli from Politecnico di Torino, and I will be hosting this midweek program. I'm beaming to you straight from Torino, Italy. We are halfway through the 2021 Gecko Challenge, and in the next hour, we'll be getting an update about the status of the 5-day virtual course. We'll also check in with the participating teams to see where everyone is with their projects. As with the opening program last Monday, we will have a question and answer portion towards the end of the program with our keynote speaker right after his address. You may already send in your question via Q&A button found at the Zoom user dashboard. For viewers on Facebook, you can type in your questions in the comments section. Please don't forget to state your school. We will screen, select and answer the questions during the Q&A portion. But now let's get ball rolling with a few words from a member of the Gecko project steering committee, our partner school, Universidad Nacional de Educación a Distancia in Spain. Please welcome the Directora del Centro de Idiomas, a university center of digital and distance languages at UNED Facultad de Filología, Dr. Pilar Rodriguez Arancon. Pilar, good morning. Sorry, Pilar, I cannot hear you. Maybe you need to switch on your microphone.
Yes. There we go. Is it better?
Wonderful, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning from Europe. I have been asked as part of the Gecko project steering committee to provide some welcome remarks for all participants in this Midweek program, and I would like to address as many of you as possible. The first thing that I would like to do is to wholeheartedly congratulate the organizers of the Gecko Challenge. It is amazing to see how hard you have worked to make this event memorable in these really strange circumstances. Just imagine how it could have been if we were all together in one place. I would also like to thank Montpellier University for the idea behind Gecko and for giving my institution the opportunity of taking part. It has been amazing. I think that all participant universities have gained knowledge and expertise with this project, and it has been my pleasure to share the experience with many of you. To the stakeholders, I would like to express my deepest gratitude. First of all, because you provided the first ideas about the soft skills that a good engineer should have, and you realized that were lacking in the industry. And these formed the basis for all the work for the development of the content of the online modules that students have gone through. I would also like to thank you for your presence at this event. You are providing these students with the chance to be heard, to show you their ideas, perhaps with the possibility of joining your organizations in the not so distant future, who knows. After all, we are all aiming at improving their employability. To the participating students, I would like to say how proud I feel of seeing what you have achieved, how confident you seem to be in this online environment with all your original presentations and your enthusiasm. It's proof of how far you will go in your working lives and a testimony of the wonderful teachers that you have had along the way. I could not finish without mentioning another of my tasks in the project and my favorite activity. My institution, UNED, is an online university with more than 200,000 students. We were in charge of providing the training for the developers and teachers in order to transfer the content that had been designed for the modules to an online environment. I've also been present or in touch with the module developers throughout the process of the creation of the modules and the writing of the good practice guides for future teachers and students. In a way, we were the first group of people who fulfilled Gecko's mission of working across nationalities and cultures. So we can give you some advice about this. Learn to listen, observe, let people talk, learn from the differences which are great, and give everyone space and be respectful. I can only say that it has been an honor and a privilege to be part of this, that I have made a few friends for life in the process, that I have visited amazing countries, and that I have learned a great deal from all of you. I'm so glad that you learned a little bit from me as well to prepare you for this online teaching that you have had to do in the last few months. It's not exactly what we anticipated, but such is life, and we have made the best of what we have. Having said that, I hope that we get the chance to meet in person again, and I really look forward to that. And now let's go with the program. Best of luck with the challenge and your future pursuits, all of you, and welcome to the Midweek program.
Muchas gracias, señorita Pilar. Thank you very much, Pilar, for your kind words, for the suggestions given to all participants. And thank you to you, Pilar, and also to you, Ned, for the great passion, the expertise you bring to the Gecko project. You gave really a great contribution to our project. And as Shirley wrote in the chat, we will miss you. Everyone will miss you, Pilar. Thank you again. So now we'll be getting some updates on the development in the 2021 Gecko Challenge over the past 2 days. Here to get us up to speed, please welcome the Associate Dean of the School of Engineering, Burapa University, and a member of the Gecko Summer School Committee, Dr. Tanong Sank Tepsonthi.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexander. Okay, good afternoon, speaker, committee challengers, and our participant of this midweek event.
Sorry, we hear there is a noise. I don't know why we hear.
Where some noise come from? Is it come from my side?
Some noise from, okay.
Okay.
Sorry for this.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, my name is Tanong Tepsonthi. Okay, I'm from Faculty of Engineering, Burapa University. Okay, so before we proceed to the event, I would like to give you some update of for everyone to so we know what's going on in the Gecko challenge and also what to be expected in the next 2 days. So let me mention that the Gecko challenge is activity under the Gecko project, which is the aim to develop engineer capability and implement best practice based on employability and regional cooperation in 3 target countries, which are Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. In this Gecko challenge, we have 48 students. Okay, we divided them randomly into 8 teams, the mix of the students from 8 universities. So they have a chance to work with multicultural the people from many different countries. So we will see how effective the online platform that we have developed that can teach them on how to work in the different environment. Okay, and the 8 universities are from 3 different Asian countries, namely University of Gajah Mada and Institute of Technology Bandung from Indonesia. We have University of Philippines, Antonio de Manila University, Xavier University from Philippines. We have Ubon Ratchathani University, Burapa University, and Kasetsat University from Thailand. Go. Next, please. Okay, and there are 8 mentors, which are experts from industry and also from the academic who has experience in innovation and startup participate as a mentor. So each of the team assigned to one of the mentor, and they already start working together to develop the solution for the sustainable development goals. Next, please. Okay. In the Gecko challenge, we have activity for the 5 days. Okay, during the 5-day program, there are 8 activities and 3 public events. So up until now, which is a midweek, the day 3 already. So students have gone through 6 of the activities, namely innovation team organization, defining team core value, opportunity identification, identifying stakeholder requirement and preference, design problem and goal setting. And this morning, they just complete the concept generation and selection. So at the moment, they already have a very good idea of what they are going to present it. And so for tomorrow, they're gonna make a prototype and preparing for the pitching. So the day after tomorrow will be a closing and awarding ceremony, which they are going to present their work. So, and also the progress, they are going to present their progress within this midweek program right after this. Okay, next please. So at the end of the Gecko challenge, so we will have 8 innovative solutions for the sustainable development goal come from 8 of the teams, which are the mix of students from 8 universities. So they're gonna pitch in front of the judge, and at that point, we're gonna see who has the best solution, and that will be awarded as a winner of the Gecko challenge. Okay, this is an update of the Gecko challenge midweek. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanong Saka Tepsonthi. So some exciting days still remain with the Gecko Challenge, but now it's time to hear it from the stars of the show. Here we get reports from the teams on the status of their project. And we will start with Team A.
Hi everyone. So we are Team J-Ping. Next slide, please. Hello. Next slide, please. Uh, so, uh, uh, we're composed of no, six different individuals. So me, John Andrew Chua, Olia, Yudho, Pratana, and one because we're team one and we're gonna be the winner, Joe. and N for Natacom and K for Kirk. So next is our video that'll introduce us. Yeah, this is the video. Can you please play the video? Hi everyone, I'm John Andre Chua, a graduating student from Ateneo de Manila University, taking up BS IT Entrepreneurship. My role in the team is CEO, and I was given this role due to my project management skills and my participation in student organizations.
Hello guys, I'm Nathakom Chandrasin from Budapest University. My role in the team is CTO. My skill is design with SolidWorks.
Hello everyone, my name is Indo Christine. I'm from Indonesia. I studied in University Ramada, majoring in civil and environmental engineering. My role in the JPing team is the CMO or Chief Marketing Officer. So you probably already know that I'm kind of creative guy for able to proposing our best product to impact the world society.
Hi, I am Kirk Galarita from Xavier University, taking up chemical engineering. I am good at data processing and optimization. And I am one of the CTOs of JPing.
Hello, my name is Patana Logana. I'm for chemical engineering. I love to convince and influence people. I good connecting people to be together. And I being PR guy in JP.
Hello guys, my name is Aulie Givar Nurlis and I'm from ITB Indonesia. My role of Team AJ Ping is a CPO and I have possessed many skills such as creativity, project management, listening and also IT skill sets.
Thank you for watching our video. So just a brief run through who we are. So I'm the CEO, Olia's the CPO, Kirk's the CTO, Natacom's the CTO, Pratana's the PR person, and Yudo is the CMO. So our mentors, Dr. Chinawat P. Panukul, an assistant president and the engineering professor from Budapest University. Next slide, please. So our team core values is we want to be like hopeful, we want to have integrity, we want to be fair with each other, and we want to be socially intelligent as well, and we want to have persistence all throughout our team. So next slide, please. After discussing with everyone, knowing from everyone's different backgrounds, different ideas, we settled on the SGD of quality education. So next slide, please. So we believe that quality education is very important, not just because if you would think about it, how would other people be able to follow the other SGDs if they don't have the proper literacy to actually understand why these SGDs are actually important in society and how these SGDs help of the world, right? So, which is why we thought that in our countries, one thing that really needs to be tackled is quality education. So, from that, next slide, please. So we saw a lot of different problems that concerns our different countries in terms of our the educational system as a whole. So we could see in the Philippines, the public school system has a lot of problems in delivering modules and lack of motivation. Education in Thailand is still unequal, especially in the rural areas. Then in Indonesia, the students are having a really hard time adjusting towards the pandemic, since everything would be online. Then also in Indonesia, there's a problem with the mental healthiness of the students due to the pandemic. Not Because of the pandemic, it's not being accounted for as much as before. And finally, there are also places in Indonesia where, due to the students lack the motivation to actually further their studies due to their since they want to start working at a young age to support their families. So next please, sorry. As an initial idea that we had, we wanted to collaborate with the government to make a project that makes college/graduate students go and teach in rural areas. And we could equip that workforce with an online platform about education, which can provide a mental assessment, coaching, study modules / motivational session so that the educational quality in the rural areas could increase and even equal with the urban city. Next slide, please. So, with that solution, we thought of different stakeholders, which would be, which we would have as our stakeholders for this project, right? So, first would be the government, which has high power and high interest due to the fact that they have a preference since they want, of course, as a government, they want to help the betterment of the people, and they need more literate citizens to help with the overall good of the country, such as like because of if your citizens are well educated, um, everything would follow suit in the sense that there would be better industry, more innovation in the country, and also better infrastructure as well. For their requirements, they want to easily be able to track this easily, and it wouldn't be too expensive since there are other concerns that the government has to address, right? Not just education, right? So in terms of data validation, we weren't able to do as of now, but in the future we hope to do data validation as well. Next slide, please. So college student, they have high power and high interest. Since our main goal is to have students be actually the volunteers to be the teachers towards these high school/grade school students. Of course, they are main cornerstone of our project. Uh, our project slash process. So, of course, as a college student, you want to have like a social reputation that could help you with your career path in the future. Since it's one of the things that really boosts someone's resume, and it's also something that helps people earn money as well. And of course, if they get some sort of accreditation, that would be really helpful for a college student. Their only requirements would be close from home and be well paid. And for data validation, as college students from the group, we think that it would be a good idea since um, there's something that we could also take from the experience, right? Next slide, please. So next is high school students. So they have low power but very high interest in terms of what we plan to do. Due to the fact that high school students want a relatable teacher who can help mentor and coach them with their studies, and someone who can motivate them as well. Um, of course, it's very hard to study right now because of the COVID pandemic, and especially in the rural areas since there's lack of infrastructure in terms of the internet, which is why uh, yeah, the requirements is just that they need someone who's skilled, friendly, and someone they could talk to in terms of her academics, like as a friend, right? So data validation, we don't have any as of now as well. Next slide, please. So for college institutions, it's high power and high interest. It's a really good way for colleges to find new lecturers for the college because in a sense you'll be able to scout like for people who are like who have a talent for teaching or find their find their calling in teaching through a program such as this. And it can also help promote teaching as a profession as well. And of course, having student volunteer activities such as this also boosts the reputation of the college institution as well. So for requirements, this project should be relevant with like student outcomes. So this could be in partnership with school curriculum, such as what we have in the Philippines, such as the NSTP. In terms of validation, we have nothing as of now as well. So next slide, please. And yeah, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
All right. So next up, we're Team B from 2K. So we're just waiting kindly for the shared screen for our presentation. Right. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. We're Team B of 2K. Our team is actually a combination of what the word Gecko translates to our native language. And our team is comprised of Aldo, Robin, Meg, Jara, Raf, and me, Franco. Next slide, please. So before we progress further, who are we and what are we good at? We'll be elaborating on our roles and skill sets. So next slide, please. Once again, to reintroduce myself, I'm Franco Miguel Dapula from Ateneo de Manila University, and I'll be the CEO for this team. I specialize currently in product management, creativity, and spreadsheets. Next, for our two CMOs, we have Aldo and Meg. Aldo specializes in product management, marketing staff branding, process engineering. Meanwhile, Meg specializes in architecture, creativity, and analytical skills. Next slide, please. Our CTO, we have Robin from UP Delamar, and she specializes in product management, vision, and creativity. Meanwhile, for PR, public relations, we have Raf Jarat, who specializes in persuasion, startup mentality, and networking. Our phone number values essentially includes integrity, open-mindedness, people-orientedness, persistence, and collaboration. So for our first core value, we have integrity, and we define this as doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Next, we have open-mindedness, meaning we approach problems by viewing them through many lenses before we could deliver the best result for our customer. Third, we are people-oriented, customer-centric in the sense that we provide solutions based on people's needs to make a better world. For our core value, we have persistence. The team understands that for any sustainable development endeavor, there are a lot of hurdles to be faced. So regardless of the setbacks that we do encounter, it's important that we keep moving forward because we can't give up our chance to make a difference. Lastly, we have collaboration. We really value collaboration because it's a practice where individuals work together for a common purpose to achieve business benefit. Moving on to the next slide. Here we basically have our output for Team Activate 3, which would be identifying opportunities catered towards specifically SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. This table actually lists 7 of our identified regional issues along with their corresponding solutions. So for the first one, we have, it's also been estimated that Filipinos waste up to 308,000 tons of rice every year. In Metro Manila, 2,175 tons of food end up in trash bins daily. So that's in the region of Philippines. Meanwhile, for number 2, there's more for Indonesia. 15% of products prices stem from the cost of packaging. So when goods are sold in smaller quantities, the cost of packaging adds up to more money spent, equivalent to poverty tax. The vulnerable population in Indonesia and those who do not have enough capacity to purchase in bulk due to financial or space limitation pay the highest price for smaller quantities and everyday products. For 3, same region, Indonesia, FMCG packaging contributes to most of its plastic waste. Next slide, please. Similarly, this time in the Phil- yes, this time, um, It's actually one of the contributors of the country's plastic waste, also in the Philippines, because URC, Universal Robina Corporation, was declared to be the top plastic polluter for 2020 with about 6,360 pieces of plastic waste collected during the brand audit. Meanwhile, shifting to a different region, we have Thailand. Vehicles and factories contribute to air pollution, particularly in Bangkok, which experienced high levels of air pollution in the winter of 2019. So recent research dated to 2019 also agricultural burning as the root cause of PM 2.5 pollution in Thailand. Shifting back to the Philippines, it's actually one of the world's worst offenders on marine plastic pollution, with 0.28 to 0.75 million tons per year of plastic entering oceans from coastal areas in the Manila Bay. Lastly, with regards to waste management, or rather garbage collection in particular, Metro Manila spends 1.6 billion pesos on it. So for all of these regional issues that we've identified, we've also provided solutions that correspond to them. But once again, these are just initial drafts. And just to ensure that our approach is concise and focused, we eventually narrowed it down to one condensed regional issue along with a proposed solution. So next slide, please. So eventually we shortlisted it to one problem, which is packaging problems from the FMCGs. In order to amend this, in order to address it, we essentially came up with another corresponding solution, which will be in the next slide. Thank you. So basically, we'll be making use of the refill station or vending machine to replace non-recyclable sachets with refill stations to accommodate customers' buying power and limited storage space while reducing price per product due to cost and packaging costs. Next slide, please. Okay, so who this is actually involved? Who is concerned? So we are the stakeholders which we've identified along with their preferences and requirements. First and foremost, no company would forget, of course, would be the customers and the preference or what they will have in mind whenever they would subscribe to a product or service would be its affordability and practicality. Basically, they would want fair prices and still no hassle to use. Meanwhile, for SMCGs, what's important to them is that it's economical, it's viable, feasible, and of course, it boosts their company image to attract more customers. So what are the requirements? Basically, the manufacturing cost of the refill station should be as low as possible because they still want to make a profit. And it's easy to produce the refill stations if they don't want it to be as costly, and it provides more profits for the company. Meanwhile, for packaging suppliers, what's in it for them? Basically, it should be effectively produced, and the buyer-to-buyer transactions should be easy. Meanwhile, for government, as long as it abides by the legislations and laws established, it should be good to go and should ultimately follow the environmental policies that they've established. As for society, it's important that the public image of a company is not tarnished because if it is, it's less likely to get partnerships and sponsorships. And what would they generally want out of this service or product? Basically, fair prices to consumer inclusivity. Meanwhile, for media such as particular newspapers, credible sources, influencers, they're looking for newsworthy products. And as for the requirements, they're able to draw attention to their site or newsletter. So yes, that's about it for our presentation. So thank you for listening.
Hello, I'll just be waiting for our presentation. Hello, I hope my mic is clear. Good day, everyone. I'm Carl De Leon, representative for Team D, the Boys Plus One, which is mentored by Dr. Hairul Uma, and I'll be sharing with you today our targeted Sustainable Development Goal target. This is namely, next slide please, SGD number 2, Zero Hunger. As many of us here know, food and nutrition are the building blocks for a healthy and sustainable human lifestyle. Our team feels as though amidst many ongoing global problems, we need to delve deeper into the very essentials of human life, which in this case would be something we deal with every day, food. And in doing so, place everyone into the bigger picture. Next slide, please. Some of the main problems our group is looking into are prevalent in many parts of the countries we reside in, such as food insecurity in the rural areas, and conversely, large amounts of food waste in the urban counterparts. We have also identified problems with nutritional quality and in the meals in further rural areas. Next slide, please. As well as the rising prices of quality food goods in the market. and other related expenses for the people there. Most notable for our group, in terms of problems, would be the stunted growth and malnutrition present in many of the youth living there today, and the lack of nutritional education in a number of families across the different countries we reside in. With that, next slide please. Our group would be working with these benchmark ideas moving forward in the Gecko Challenge. Next slide please. Namely, potential partnerships with government and non-government organizations as we recognize the largeness of the problem we are tackling, systems to help accessibility to food, as there is an evident need to have everyone part of the food consumption cycle, applications on, on nutrition to not only educate but also to get with the times of the present today, and last but not least, our group would like to endeavor towards a lasting impact that would empower people with new methods against zero hunger and hope for a brighter tomorrow. Next slide, please. With that being said, let us move over to our group stakeholder analysis, where we have identified 5 main stakeholders which we wish to highlight as we move forward in this challenge against zero hunger. Next slide, please. First would be the nutritionists, as they are well versed in the effects of hunger and malnutrition as a whole, and we feel as though they are highly important in the vision we have for solving zero hunger. Of course, their main focus would be towards providing healthy diets for those afflicted by the problems posed by zero hunger. Next slide, please. Next would be FMCG companies, whose preference would obviously be towards building partnerships within the food industry and their consumer base. With regards to data validation, we have also identified through our independent research that there is an importance for these companies to expand in different markets before their competitors, which provides us an opportunity to partner up with these companies should the opportunity occur. Next slide, please. We also have rural communities as one of our main stakeholders, as being given the opportunity to elevate their diet and lifestyle is definitely on their minds. No one wants to be afflicted with hunger or anything related to that sort of food problem. So we feel as though rural communities, especially those in the most in the furthest villages, would be that of our stakeholders of importance for our innovation. Next slide, please. Fourth, we have non-government organizations who we want to pair up with in their campaign to help the less fortunate with their problems as well as eradicating hunger. With regards to data validations, we have already identified that there are opportunities to come in line with their organization's main agenda and advocacy, which in turn will let us partner with each other in in moving forward with what we plan to do against zero hunger. Next slide, please. And last but not least, our local produce suppliers and retailers. We need the help of the locals in the area in trying to combat this humongous problem. It's not something that we can just simply solve within our within simply from our area, but it needs to be um, empowerment and envisionment in their area. So we really need to be able to cooperate with these local suppliers so that we'd be able to do the best for the community there. And with that, that is our presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello. Let's just wait for the presentation. The main SDG being tackled by my group would be zero hunger and a little bit on good health and well-being. So the product we intend to make would be a nutritious snack bar that is made up of insects. Insects such as grasshoppers, crickets, and worms contain nutrients that are beneficial for the body, some high in protein and could contain more antioxidants than fruits. So next slide, please. Our target would be Southeast Asian countries and areas that have famine or a lack of food. Next slide. The snack bar as seen in the photo here would come in a packaging like that. The goal would be for the packaging with a material that is easily biodegradable. We intend for it to not be plastic due to the non-biodegradable quality of the material. The interior would be similar to that of a brownie. No insect parts will be seen as it will be crushed into a fine powder to be mixed into the bar during the production. It will come in flavors that will be targeted based on where it will be sold, aka it will be made up of local flavors. So we intend for this product to be a cheaper substitute or alternative to premium snack bars that are either organic or made up of other ingredients. This way, it also uses up less resources to make and would also be cheaper to produce. Its nature as a snack bar would also help for it to be easily preserved over long periods of time. Next slide, please. Next slide. So the main stakeholders would be the government, scientists, and cultivators. The government, mainly the FDA, will be important due to it being a food and nutritional product. They will need to ensure its safety before allowing it to be sold in their country. Next would be entomologists and nutritionists that will help in ensuring the safety and nutritional value of the snack bar. The last would be the supplier who provides the ingredients for the bar. We do not include in our table, but also important would be the customers and those who like to work out, as snack bars are often consumed by them, and they would be our main consumers. So we hope you like or are interested in the idea we came up with today. Thank you.
Hello, my voice clear. I'll wait for the presentation. And for Team C, I think we'll also do a introduction. All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and morning to the ones living in Europe. We are Team C, named C United. Next. So yeah, my team is comprised of 6 members and 1 mentor. They are Oliver Roy, Ivan Joseph from as CEO, Nicholas Tidata as CPO, Oliver Roy as CTO, and myself as a PR, Muhammad Rayhan Diaska, and Sarun Katkum as CMO, and Warapan Mukdahan as CTO. And our group mentor is Dr. Juta Pichit Lemkan. Next. So for our team's core value, we are a fun, creative, and disciplined group of individuals geared towards innovating services for communities based on integrity and social intelligence. Next. So firstly, for our introduction, here's our CEO, Ivan, I'm sorry. He is the Chief Executive Officer, and he has 7 years of experience in events, projects, and team management in various organizations. And when not doing work, he enjoys embroidery, doing music, Pilates, and watching Netflix. Next. And next, we have our Chief Project Officer, which is Nico, a nuclear engineering student from Indonesia. He is interested in energy topics, particularly in nuclear energy, and he is skilled in graphic design and some nuclear computational codes. He loves reading novels and comics. Next. And then we have Oliver, our first Chief Technical Officer, and he hopes to contribute to the team's innovative projects and resolve problems that may occur. He can do this through his highlighted skills of problem resolution, adaptability, and creativity. Next. And then we have our second CTO, which is Warapan. She has great communication skills and time management and is looking forward to helping us achieve our goals in C United, our team. She likes to do photography and play mobile games on her free time. Next. Then we have our Chief Marketing Officer, nicknamed Faiv, or Sarun Fakum. His adaptability, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking proves to be his advantage for his role. And in his free time, he likes to work out and read Japanese novels. And next. Finally, there's me, the PR guy, and I am a mechanical engineering student from ITB. And I believe I have good communication, interpersonal, and presentation skills that is required for my role. Some of my hobbies include playing music, trying out new food, eating books, and swimming with the fishes. Next, sorry. And then we have our mentor, Dr. Juta Pichitlamkan, or also preferred to be called Dr. Ying. And together we are the Team C United. Next. And for the problem statement that we decided upon as a team, it is the lack of clean water in rural areas from drought due to factors such as shallow groundwater reservoirs, underdeveloped water pipelines in the area, and absence of water treatments. Next. And as a result to that, we have chosen to pursue the SDG number 6 for the communities living near the Citarum River in Indonesia facing heavily polluted water, and also for the communities facing water shortages in the rural areas of Philippines and also the Gunung Kidul area of Indonesia due to either the lack of water distribution infrastructures or droughts. And the potential solutions for our team uh, that our team came up with are the distribution of water by solar pumps in mountain areas, water collection by means of rainwater harvesting or ambient water vapor collection, and finally, water treatment using brine desalination for the seaside area and the conventional river water treatment. Next. As for the solution, we have decided on pursuing with the water cleaning pod system, which is a water treatment using cleaning pods. And the stakeholders that we have identified so far are rural area communities that lack clean water during drought. And for the preference, we have potable water for sustenance, and requires the solution must be affordable and convenient. And the second stakeholder would be the local government units, which prefer their preference would be to give permissions and support our solution, and would require affordable, safe, easy to manage and distribute water pipelines. And then the stakeholder number three would be the investors, which shows their opportunity to make profits, sorry, and would require a high ROI and also low or medium risk investments. And finally, our last stakeholder would be the FDA or the Food and Drug Administration, which prefer the regulate and ensure healthy water for consumption and require the safety to use and consume domestically. So that's all from my team, Team C United, and thank you all for listening. Have a nice day.
Hello, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone. I'll just be waiting for the presentation here. So once again, good afternoon or good morning. I am Chubby. I'll be presenting for Team F, but we would like you to call us the Fantastic Six. So you can see here in your screens our output for activity 3, 4, and 5. So let's start with activity 3. So next, please. Here. After discussing with our team, we came up with an idea to solve SDG 3, which is the good health and well-being. As we all are aware of the pandemic that we are currently facing right now, one of the ways to end this pandemic is through vaccination. Many companies from various countries have raced to develop vaccines. After the vaccine development, the next stage is to distribute it evenly to the public. We see a major problem regarding this challenge. Looking at the distribution of the vaccine made before, we've recognized that the distribution system is not mature yet. It needs further development, especially in Indonesia. Jokowi, the Indonesian president, instructed his minister to distribute or to successfully vaccinate 1.5 million people at the end of February 2021, but the reality told a different thing. It only covered 600 people out of the 1.5 million target. That is why there is a need to further develop the vaccination allocation. Next, please. Here is our solution. Our solution would involve the allocation of the not just the vaccine but also the medical professional that would administer the vaccine, and then the most convenient vaccination area to encourage other people to get their vaccine and to minimize the carrying costs, since the vaccine has a very sensitive in terms of temperature. Next, please. So we have here our output for activity 4. Next, please. Thank you. The development of the vaccine distribution also affect a lot of stakeholders, ranging from institutions to individuals. We acknowledge that the government, the public and logistic services. Next, please. The vaccine suppliers, the doctors or health workers that will administer the vaccines, the business owners. Next, please. The app developers and the hospitals would be affected by the implementation of this project. Due to that reason, we must develop a specialized communication channel and strategy for each of the stakeholders. Next, please. Here is our output for activity 5, the design problem and goal setting. Next, please. So here we have done the HOQ. It is a analysis that we should do before producing to our website. It covers the competitor benchmarking, also the voice of the customer. Doing such analysis, we can conclude that it is the which technical parameters are important, and we conclude a competitor analysis with Okta, Easy Consult, and Faster from the Philippines. After the HOQ, we concluded the relationship and the technical correlation between the VOC or the customer's requirements and our technical aspects. Next, please. HOQ also provides the technical target that needs to be focused. Next, please. Before I end for our mentoring session with our mentor, Mr. Yarabisha Yanuar, he guided us into how to approach our idea and the areas that we need to focus and to improve, which we will be doing for the rest of the week. So I believe that will be all for our progress. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I am Jebby from Team F with the Fun Plastic 6. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon and good morning, everyone. We are Team G, Team Titans, and we are mentored by Sir Franklin Ray Pacquiao. Next slide, please. So, majority of the team had one SDG in common. This brought us to pick the SDG number 3, good health and well-being. To further identify the regional issues, we each shared our personal sentiments and experiences in our countries. And again, we found out an issue that is prevalent in each of our countries. Next slide, please. We found out that there is a lack of medical supplies or a shortage of medical supply and equipment. Actually, we had common cases in our countries where people unfortunately die because equipment like oxygen tanks ran out, or there is a ventilator shortage, also with other medical supplies. With this, we thought of having an online system. Next slide, please. It's like, think of Lazada, but for a wide range of medical supply, legitimate and quality medical supplies. Of course, the verification of suppliers would be a very rigorous task. So this will be very much taken care of. Next slide, please. We not only will help medical institutions ease their medical supply procurement, but we also can give supply companies widen their reach of brand recognition and also to keep their businesses going in these times where the economy is down. So with that, these are the stakeholders that we envision. Hospitals, medical institutions, and local government units are the main ones. They are the vital parts. Our service revolves around them, and of course couriers, since we connect suppliers with medical institutions. We need couriers for the delivery services. So I guess that's all. Thank you. .
we'll just be waiting for the slides. So, are we killers? Thousands of people die each year from diseases related to pollution. Even turtles and fishes are choked and strangled to death, eating plastic that we produce through our irresponsible actions. Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. So congratulations, we are actually some of the top countries in the world. We're called the Plastic Gang. So looking at these numbers, our three countries are amongst the top 10 biggest sources of plastic in the world. Not only that, but we also waste a ton of food, as you can see in the following slides. And we also produce a large amount of CO2 emissions. So let me ask you all again, are we killers? Good afternoon, we are Team Jarvis and we don't want to be killers. We don't want to destroy the earth, our collective home. So we choose to take action in order to resolve this problem. We want to be more responsible consumers and producers by making a difference, as stated in SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production. In addition to what we have showed earlier, these are some of the regional issues that we have identified. Included in this is the realization that plastics are everywhere. All over the world, plastic has become a huge problem. And due to the pandemic, the daily consumption of masks and other medical waste just piled up even more to our growing waste problems. So here are proposed possible solutions and their respective stakeholder information for developing eco-friendly products. So one of our proposed solutions is creating eco-friendly face masks. So our proposed stakeholders would be our customers who are interested in eco-friendly products, and our face masks would be transparent. So this would provide for a niche market, which are the deaf and the mute, who are not able to see facial expressions or be able to read lips while wearing a face mask. So this is like our starting niche for this product. Along with this would be the COVID-19 health workers. So one of the stakeholders that produces a lot of the face mask pollution or waste are willing to switch to a biodegradable choice if there is one. Next would be the national government, and they would be willing to partner with us to reduce waste in the city and to make the city cleaner, as it is part of their responsibilities to do so. And we would also be able to connect with them to connect with farmers who would provide the raw materials that we would need in order to create these face masks. Next would also be TV or entertainment management, specifically the ones who need to be shown on TV and wear face masks still, since this still happens in many of our countries in Asia. So others would be doctors and other health doctors. So this is a long-term plan, since workers usually use face masks typically every day in order to visit also their patients, which is also one of our stakeholders, so that they can have an easier way to communicate while being eco-friendly. And lastly, we have their investors, where their preference would be our business to be feasible, viable, but economically profitable. Next slide.
Jarvis. 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 Jarvis.
For the earth, for the earth, for the future.
Thank you.
Great, teams. Good job on your work. Whatever happens, you've already got a lot to be proud of. Keep it up. So, all right, today we are fortunate to have as a keynote speaker a leader in the field of stakeholder management in Indonesia. He currently holds that position at Star Energy Geothermal, the largest geothermal energy producer in the country. His main expertise include risk management, strategic business planning, business processes, corporate performance and improvement, and corporate social responsibility. He obtained his master's degree in business administration, majoring in management and operation at the Institute of Technology Bandung, Indonesia. He previously obtained his bachelor degree in mathematics at Universitas Padjadjaran, Indonesia. So, ladies and gentlemen, to give his talk on stakeholder management for innovation, please welcome Mr. Harry Ginanjar.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. Yeah, when we talk about the issue, eventually, what is the issue? Issue basically is the process of anticipation. This is also the strategic management process that will help organization to respond to the emerging trend or changes. And it is introduced in early 1970s at the time by Henry Kissinger, that he said that if issue is ignored, then we invite a crisis. So what is the relation between issue and crisis? Next slide, please. If you look at this slide, Hansworth and Meng said that the issue is reside here in potential as a potential issue, and then it will become emerging. And then if this issue is not managed or being ignored, then it will be a case or a problem here in the current status. And if this case is not well managed or being ignored, then it will become a crisis. See, the difference is when the issue become to above this point, then it will be exposure to external. It become difficult to manage the issue. Next slide. So I try to make some analogy. What is issue, case, and crisis? As I see in some of your presentation, you declare actually it is already a problem, a case, but not an issue. Because an issue is something that not happened yet, but it is a potential. Like in this stove, you can see the issue of being fired because of you can identify some maybe lack of the or you can smell something, or on the piping to the gas, or this is the too old enough and also not clean. That some issues. But if this stove become burn and get a fire, it become a problem, a case. And if this owner doesn't know how to handle, or there is no owner to handle this one, it will become a crisis. Crisis like here, the house is burned and it impact the other houses surrounding this. And it require some other help. So the difference of these three is on the level of emergency and availability of time to analyze and required resources as well. And also the management strategy will be different, and also the how we communicate is different. So that's why, according to Henry Kissinger, if the issue is still here, you have to manage it before it becomes a case or a problem, or manage it the problem before it could be a crisis. Next slide. How to identify issue? You already identify some issue in your presentation. Basically, the issue is environmental scanning through the situation analysis. And some method, such as the PESTEL method, you can look at the PESTEL. It stands for politics, economy, social, technology, environment, and legal. The output of this process called the identify issue, and also you find some opportunity. Okay, next slide. You have to have a framework how you manage the issue, starting from the number one, environmental scanning. This is the activity, the identify issue, list of issue, assign who will address the issue, and the issue will be signed on. And then you need to analyze what is the impact. Do some risk assessment. Because if issue is ignored, you need to make some what if scenario. And then you can see the impact, which one is the biggest impact, the lowest impact. Then you can make issue mapping, and then you can prioritize which issue should be done first, which issue would be last. And then it comes to the how you resolve the issue. Of course, it should be a team that should resolve the issue through the workshop, and then make some strategy, and then some mitigation plan. The mitigation plan, such as how you communicate with your stakeholder, how you find the stakeholder, and how you make a program, or is it enough just to make some engagement and it will resolve issue, or do you need some resources such as people and money to resolve this issue? And then after you make some resolution method here, then you need to make some implementation plan. Implementation plan of all the mitigation issue. And in the implementation plan, you have to establish position. This means if there's some issue, what the company stand position. Are you as the cause, or are you as a supporting, or are you as a victim? We need to make this position. And then you need also to make some stakeholder engagement plan. Who to engage, who to communicate, what an advocacy you require. And then if you have those plans, then you execute. In this execution, of course, there's some stakeholder engagement process. You engage all the stakeholders until all the issues are resolved, until all the risks itself are being mitigated. And you can monitor and track every day or every week or every month. It depends on how critical the issue is. And then you close the issue when the issue can be resolved. Next slide, please. This is the process of how you identify issue. You when the team get together, you need to understand: do you have enough knowledge to resolve the issue, or do you need some additional? And you can do it through a DQ spider diagram. Yes, this is some management tools that you can do. And do you know how old is the issue? Are you in the potential or the emerging, or is it the case already, the problem already? Since I look at some of your presentation is on the problem stage, not an issue. And then you log it. Next slide. And you know the background of the issue, who are the players through the issue. Like you already good in defining the stakeholders. Then I see our presentation. One, maybe some in some team miss some key stakeholder at the time. Okay, next slide. This is another how you can map the issue using the sunburst diagram. You can see the legal issue here is the biggest one, comparing to the environment This is one snapshot of a company in Star Energy. You see the operation issue. We have a big issue here. Also, we have a compliance issue and the operational issue in environment. In also in others, in social issue, CSR issue, some grievance, as well as some requests for CSR issue. Next. You need to develop issue on paper here, because by having this issue, you can see all, firstly, all the stakeholders. What is the role to this issue? And what is the level of support? Yellow meaning neutral, green meaning support the issue, can help. But like this one, the red meaning it's again your issue. It will make your issue becoming worse. So need to make a good engagement spectrum here. So this is the strategy for each stakeholder. And what are the risks of this issue? Like, for example, the environmental regulation draft, it will have this list of risks, where each risk you can calculate it and convert it into the dollar. And then you have the total here. That's the value of your issue. Meaning, if you resolve this issue, you save that number of money. And you can see all risks, how likelihood and the impact, see, and the impact description here. You can read. It is only one sample of the. I think you understand on the management that some type using 5M methodology. You can use any kind of methodology to define the issue. Next slide, please. Okay, there are two method to approach. One is through the issue management process, where for this issue you can also define who are stakeholder, and then you analyze the issue, and then you have the issue mapping before you resolve the issue. But on the other side, the other method is using the stakeholder management. You identify stakeholder. You see, when you use the business canvas model, or you make a Porter 5 forces, then you can identify the stakeholder, and then you can analyze stakeholder and map the stakeholder. But from the stakeholder itself, you can find what kind of issue you have. So basically, it will come to what I call as issue-based stakeholder engagement strategic plan. And then you can have the advocacy, engagement, collaboration, CSR and charity, the campaigns program, which all communication. Yeah, this is all of this task is a public affair. So public affair doesn't only talking about how to campaign, but also doing this 5 type of tasks. Next slide. How to identify the stakeholder? Usually, as I said, mentioned using pastel or using the other method, you can identify. And then issue can identify stakeholder. This is the issue key stakeholder. Who are the players here? The output of this process is issue mapping, stakeholder mapping, engagement plan, and communication strategy. And then you need to conduct what we call as stakeholder engagement. This is another process that you need to have in building relationship to achieve common goals. By having this one, you can have the better stakeholder support, resolve issue, good reputation, better reputation, and compliance. Next. What kind of information you should get from the stakeholder? Basically, there are two. First is the demographic information, like title, sex, birthday, etc., that you can find on internet just googling it. Who are the people are. But the other one is a psychography that you cannot find from the Google. You should make a survey or some special assessment to get what is their power, their interest to the issue, what is their important to the issue, relationship, especially for the what kind of interest, expectation, and concern that I think in your presentation put it as a preference. Next slide. Yeah, let's go next. This is how you identify the stakeholder. First, they identify and then prioritize your stakeholder and visualize through the stakeholder map. Next. The other one is how you monitor. Monitor your engagement result. Is it become better? Is the relation become better, or the issue become resolved? This is how we monitor of how our communication or engagement to the stakeholder success or not. And the last one is we conduct some stakeholder engagement. Of course, for stakeholder engagement, we need to prepare what we call it as a key messages. Next. This is a sample of how you map stakeholder. I think you already put, some of you put in the this stakeholder mapping. It's a Mendeley matrix. You can see the higher interest and the high power. Click, please click next. Okay, the next. We need to collaborate with these people. Meanwhile, for the high power but low interest, you should involve them in the issue. Next. For the low power but high interest, you need to consult them. And the other one, low interest and low power, you only inform them. You don't need to involve them. You don't need to consult, just inform. Don't make engagement too much on this inform because you waste your money. It doesn't reflect your issue resolution. Next. This one, when you combine between the issue and your stakeholder, this is how we map and how we make some engagement plan. Like if we go to the stakeholder A, then you can, based on the mapping, you need to talk about the A, C, I, M, and O issues. So stakeholder A relate to these 5 issues. So make sure that you have 5 key messages before talking to the A. This is based on the importance of the stakeholder. So you need to prioritize and to make this engagement. Next. Okay, this is some issue resolution plan. First, you need to have the IOP issue on paper, then to how you calculate the business impact, how you make a closure statement. It means then a condition where the issue can be closed. You need to make, this is to measure how you address or you resolve the issue. By end of this statement, the issue can be closed. You need to prepare as well company position, key message for each issue. For each issue, you need to key message, and it will be good for engaging stakeholder. If the stakeholder has 5 issues, then you need have to 5 key messages. You also need to develop the mitigation plan. In your presentation, probably this resolution plan, and you need to have the milestone, the timeline when the issue has to be resolved. You need to identify stakeholder and how you make some strategy, because there's some strategy on engaging stakeholder. Also the advocacy, and also you need resources like time, tools, money, and etc. that you require from your organization. Next. Next slide. This is how you monitor for each issue. This is all the activity related to this issue. You need to cover them, because when we go to some stakeholder, say it, a minister, then you need to know how many times you meet this stakeholder before, and what is the progress of all issues that could be reported to this stakeholder. How many money that contributed the community, all things that you can record here. And this is some tools for management to see how good you manage the issue, like a political, technical. Oh, this is good for the technical, but bad on the economical. So maybe you need to see again how you improve your economy issue. Okay, next. Another presentation is how you see for each issue. This represent the risk. The target of one issue is to eliminate of the risk, so the issue can be closed. And on the right side, this is the list of all issue in the organization. It said it has five issue. Then you can see the statistic, the development of the issue. This one meaning it is close to the crisis, but then you did a good job to make it into the only the emerging. On the yellow issue, you close it here. On the orange, you can see close it here. It is good as a tool to show you to the management of the organization. Next slide. Okay, the issue closure. When you close the issue, you ensure that the statement has been achieved. And also you can claim the saving and obtain approval from your issue advisory board that this issue is closed. Next. I think that's all my presentation to you, and welcome to all questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ginanjar.
Yeah.
Thank you for your inspiring talk. I believe you have inspired not just our students here today, but all of us educators as well on a very important aspect when pushing for positive change, that of stakeholder management. So a round of applause, please, for Mr. Ginanjar. So now we are open we are ready to open the floor for your question for Mr. Ginanjar. So please, if you have any question, feel free to use the Q&A button. Okay, we have a first question in our chat. Could you explain how the issue level is evaluated? What measures are used for this?
Can you repeat again?
Could you explain how the issue level is evaluated and what measures are used for this?
Okay. Could you copy paste the question to the chat?
Yes, sure. Okay, because we have this question from Risalinda, and I don't know if...
okay, there's one question, I think, how the issue management in Star Energy and how to engage with stakeholders.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we also have this other question. Yes, please.
Yeah. In Star Energy, usually we conduct what we call as the issue and stakeholder mapping update. We do it every quarter. So we go to the field, to the operation, and also to the office to collect all the issue progress and stakeholder progress, because issue will change every 3 months, and also it can change every day. Eventually, we do it use with all the expertise in the information itself, like who knows the environmental issue, then we invite this environmental issue to share his thought on the issue of the environment. And also we meet the security guy and also the operation guy there in the field, and we meet also the public affair, what is the relation with the governor, the head of villages and the community. And then we record, and then we do some mitigation plan as well as the action. So and then we track it, and then after 3 months, then we come back again and see about the progress, because the issue resolution done by the issue team. So environment can have their own team, the security they have their own team, and we report it into the corporate, the headquarter, to see how good we manage all the issue. So the measurement is simple. Are there any crises, or are there any cases? If no cases or small cases, then meaning the issue management is done good. So that's how we manage in Star Energy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So we have the other question I copied here in the chat.
Okay.
So could you explain how the issue level is evaluated? What measures are used for this?
Yeah. That's what I thought in my presentation, and just now that we come to the operation, we have 3 operation and 2 projects, 2 big projects. So we come to them every 3 months to share and to discuss about the issue progress. How is it evaluated? We see the development of the risk itself. We expect that all risks should be mitigated, so there is no more risk. And then the issue will change from the business impact high to be low. At the graphic, you can see the chart that the issue will be high if the impact high, and it will be low if the impact is low. So it can change every day, every 3 days. It depends on if the program or the mitigation plan executed and it gives the good result. So that's how we measure it.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question from Team F, the Fantastic Six. Is issue the same as a risk?
In my practice, issue is not the same with risk. We find some issue have one or many risks. Say the issue is about the execution of drilling project. That's one issue, because it will impact all the success of the project itself. So when we identify some risks, like do we have some the risk of potential risk, some community will make a summon or grievance? Will there be any like dust or noise or anything that happened by the heavy equipment through the drilling project? We identify all those risks, but the issue remain the drilling project. So if you can consider the drilling project as a risk, no, that's not a risk, that's an issue. But the risk is something that can delay the project, or even stop the activity. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, we can have some like chatting here, or we can
Yes,
let
via chat.
some guys show their face and we can talk.
Yes, sure.
I guess while waiting for the question, I have some notes on all the presentation here, like a Team H, Jarvis, and
Okay.
you missed the main stakeholder here. The main stakeholder here, like a fish, tree. There are also stakeholder.
So now we have another question for you. When the question is from Team H. So when we identify the issues around us, we found that there are several solutions that have strong relationships with different stakeholders. But sometimes we are tempted to come up with a solution that can satisfy various parties, even though we know there are limitations that must be met in order to deliver our ideas. Would you please share with us your experience that is related to this kind of a solution?
Yeah, my experience during managing this issue is when we define the stakeholder, we should record what is this stakeholder expectation, what is important to the issue, what are their roles to the issue. So what our expectation from the stakeholder. For each stakeholder, we need to write that down. Write them down, and then we have a lot of stakeholders. Of course, our focus is how we can resolve the issue by not entertaining but seeing their interest and also expectation. We cannot make some lot of expectation, their expectation, all of them, but we can do some 80-20 rules. We can see the 20% of those stakeholder, which is the key stakeholder that will impact to the 80% successful to the issue resolution. So yeah, there's never been some action of us will satisfying them all, but through the 80-20 rules, we can resolve this issue. Meanwhile, the not important stakeholder or the lower priority stakeholder can be not ignored, but it's a low priority. So we don't have to entertain all of them, especially for stakeholder who are in the top right. See, this is the important one. We need to entertain them.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you again for your speech and for answering this question. And that's all the time we have for the Q&A. But before we let our special guest go, on behalf of the organizers of the 2021 Gecko Challenge, I would like to present this humble certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
So I ask if we can have the certificate. Okay, here we have. So this certificate is presented to Mr. Harry Ginanjar, keynote speaker, for sharing his valuable knowledge and experience during the midweek program of the Gecko Challenge. So thank you again. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing with us your valuable experience, insights, and vision.
You're welcome, Alessandra.
Thank you, thank you. So another warm round of applause for Mr. Ginanjar, please. That wraps up with the midweek program. Thank you all for checking in. Now you can pick up from where you left off with your projects. The next 2 days should be even more exciting and intense, but again, do enjoy the process. Try to have some fun and keep safe.
Did you know? The strong economic growth in Southeast Asia is creating a shift in labour market needs. Industrialisation and technological development lead to a growing demand for skilled engineers. For fresh graduates looking for a job, this means increased competition as more and more engineers arrive on the labour market. To get ahead of the competition, soft skills are a highly valued asset in the eyes of employers and can truly make the difference. Improving engineers' employability with multi-competencies, knowledge and opportunities is the aim of the European project Gecko to meet these labour market's new requirements. Through exchange of good practices between 8 Asian and 5 European universities, Gecko aims to enrich engineering courses through a multi-skill approach in the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia. How will Gecko boost soft skills training? The idea is to develop an innovative learning experience in which courses will mix digital modules and experience-based learning. Students from the Philippines, Thailand and Indonesia will form international teams to work on case studies together. Selected teams will get a chance to meet in person during a summer school where they will be able to present their project. For future engineers in the region, this learning experience is a great opportunity for them, as they will get a chance to broaden their professional network and acquire a variety of soft skills in a multicultural environment. What about the private sector? The Gecko project offers a chance to help shape engineering courses to better meet their expectations in terms of graduate skill sets. And for other universities in Southeast Asia, increasing regional cooperation is also one of the goals of the project. Universities are encouraged to expand on the Gecko experience and network to develop similar initiatives in the region. Want to know what the project can offer you and how to get involved? Write us or visit the website